All right, people, welcome back to my channel. I am Chibibawa from Belgium. I am making another video about NTLite and Windows because I wanted to clean up my previous video. There was some cracks in the microphone, and I've also checked my configuration again. I have done some modifications since the last time, and I have also added some registry files related to StartleBack so that when I do like this, it will automatically show the StartleBack experience like you show it here without configuration, unnecessary configuration. I will be working on the LTSC variants just like last time. But first thing first, I want to show you how I get the ISO actually. So I'm sure if you want to have Windows LTSC, you go on Massgrave. You have Windows 11 LTSC 2024, and you have this version, build 2600 1742. We will not be using this one today because it weighs too much. I don't want to use that version. It's useless. I know people could say you need that version because it's the baseline version to be able to make updates. Well, for first things first, that's utter bullshit. And you just need the servicing stack to be added, and that's it actually. And I believe you can even do updates starting from 2600.1, which is the version that we'll be using. Uh, but it could be that in a few years' time, you could not make the updates directly from .1 until the latest one, a bit like Windows 7. At the time Windows 7, you really had to follow a specific set of update cycles in order to have the complete experience of Windows 7 with all the updates. Windows 11 and Windows 10, for that matter, functions differently. But I don't want to integrate updates in my base image because, well, I want to be able to actually burn that image on a DVD drive. And two, when I need that image and I need to actually update it, I want to have an update from .1 until the latest that is actual. Takes less space and it's easier to update because there's nothing in it. And if you need to add something, you can really add stuff on the fly. Okay, so I will not be using this one, but instead I will be getting the 2600.1 version, which can be found. Well, I will go to desmodder.de. I know it's a German website, but if you have a translator, you can translate the website and everything will be translated here. I will be searching for 2600 dot. Put the dot, it's important. And you go to, I think, page 4, something like that. You have to go back in time, actually. So that's the update cycle. Let's see, it should be there somewhere. Or maybe here. It's been a while since I went there. So 26120 is the beta. We want this one. And we want the Ur version. And the Ur version is the absolute first version. So that's the 2600.1 GE release. You want this one. If you want the space, but you have to select the correct one. So these ones are the packages, the on-demand packages, I think. Then we want the ISO. Where is that ISO? Here. Yeah, here. Okay. So ENUS Enterprise IoT 2024 NTLC X64. That's what we want. Don't take these ones because these ones are actually German, so we can't do anything with those. But this one is in English. Okay. So it has 4.2 gigs. If you go there, you want to the ISO of this one is 4.8. So I don't want that because I need to add stuff. And I will take space and I want my DVD, I want my FAT32 drive, all that, you know. So I will be downloading this one. You download it. I don't have it downloaded actually, so I will have to download it again. Not a problem, I will just cut here and when it's downloaded, I will continue. My NTLite is already ready. Have a new baseline. Maybe I can check that with you if you want. At first, my profile was like this. I actually removed quite a lot of components, but The more experience I get with NTLite, the less components I actually remove. So false. We can remove the cache. I actually removed edge. That's actually the only thing that I removed. The rest of the things are like cache files, but you don't have cumulative update cache because no updates have been done. But the most important thing here is the tweaks, these settings. All these settings are here, and I have also added my arguments. So you can see here what I said in my other video. So if you're smart enough, what I said, you can sideload some applications using commands robocopy in this one. The first one will be just using the Chocolatey MSI because I really need the MSI, the Chocolatey to be installed so that you can install packages really easily when you have internet. So that's really a requirement that I put in all my images, whatever happens. GPU update, you know what it is. Sleep 2 just to give some time. GPU update force, it's not really needed, but I just put it there twice. Then what we have is robocopy, so it will move the files actually. You see here the arguments move. So I will be putting on C users floor files. So that's the my browser with the extension and all that. We also need those files to be moved in app data. Don't worry about local and roaming, it will be automatically handled. And that's it for the floor files. Then what we have the move again. We will be moving from the users directory to the desktop directory. So it has to be user. If you're using my profile, if you're using another username, you have to change this. So instead of users here, user, you have to put your own user. But these come after the user gets created. That's very important. If you do it before the login, it will fail because there's no user created. Okay. So we have some files that those are my files, but I need to add one, which I will do. So that's Office Pro Plus 2024 LTLC. That's like a 2 or 3 megabyte file, just to have Office really fast, and not having to worry about looking for it. Every system will have Office, the installer. It's not install, but just install, and then 7-zip. And I also need to add a start all back. So where I have put this, it's probably in my Windows ISO prepared here. We copy the name, we paste it here. So we have Office, 7-zip and start all back to be deposited on the desktop directly. Then we delete the Chocolatey MSI file because we already installed it. And we shut down after 46 seconds, which is timed. It's not as harshly timed as the other video because I actually give a few seconds to the system to really put all the scripts that NTLite does. And then it reboots. So you don't really have the possibility to do anything at the first configuration, but basically everything will be done by itself. Okay, so that's my new baseline. I will give it another name. I will upload it as well to my server. Image info is not needed, so I will delete that. All right. So if you want, you can also change that. So that's 00 or 00 0000, or maybe better 1 1 1984 0 0 0 0 0. Okay, save. Very good. We have my new baseline here. Refresh. My new baseline works. I actually don't really need my standard anymore. So I will move it to my documents. I will deal with it later. So refresh, new baseline, recognize, it's not corrupt. Very good. I'm still waiting for the download to complete. I think I will have to cut here because I don't really have anything left to show. Or I get ideas when I do the videos then. Start all back. Settings registry, because actually the settings of start all back are stored in the registry. And on their website here, we see where it is. It was current user software start all back. So you go to Regedit. Current user software. Then you have start all back here. And actually what you have to do is very simple. You have all these things here. You just do export key. Export. You go to the desktop or something. Start all back reg, and you save it. But I already saved it on in my deployment kit here, so I have to update that kit. But here you have start back reg is the biggest one. When you check in Notepad, you actually see what it is. Okay, so start back can be really easily sideloaded through NTLite. So that's why I'm actually adding the installation of the file of start back, because there's nothing left to configure. Everything is configured like that. It will even show the Windows 7 startup button, just to really piss off Microsoft. All right, so it's busy. Desmoder is a very good website if you want a lot of resources for Windows. If you cannot read the language, just translate it. It's not difficult. We're in 2025 or 2026, depending when you check the video, maybe later even. Because with AI and shit, it will be really easy to just understand what they are saying. Please note that I prefer this website because they are German and they are very straight to the point. Okay, so you need something, you find it. That's it. Very easy. No need to register an account or bullshit to download. It's there. They host on their platform, and it works very nice. I'm not sponsored or something, but it's very nice. A very nice website. Much prefer it to the other ones. You really can follow what happens with Windows, translate it, and you can just read. No issues there. Okay. So that's the Desmoder side of things. Now, while we wait, I'm not cutting the video. I'm sorry. I get IDs when I talk. Let's download the 2600.4202, which is the latest one. Um, that's KB. Yeah, cannot copy. Copy. Vesus. Download. Okay. So if you need an update, you can download them still. I mean, this is still Windows XP era. Windows XP, we still had those really ugly but very functional websites. But here you have the package to update your machine. So that's the 2025-05 cumulative update. And on Desmodder, so if you search on Desmodder the latest update, 4202, so it says that it's an optional update from May 2025, now for everyone. Um, what they do, which I don't like, they give you the MSU, that's fine, but that MSU is like 2.5 gigabytes. We don't need that at all. And I will prove you why. When you go to the update catalog, when you click on this one, what do you have? Two links. Click on this one. You have a 2.5 gig file. Okay, but that's not what we want. What we want is the second one. There it is. 509 megabytes. The difference between those two packages is only for AI computers. But since I absolutely don't care about AI on my computer, on my system, I just need the actual update package. And that update package is important, not to update our image, because that's not what I will do. But it's important because that file contains the necessary file to be able to be certain to update your image later on. Even if it's on the very first build, the RTM build, 2600.1, like you see here, 2600.1. This one will contain the file that we call um, the servicing stack. And the servicing stack is what is responsible to allow your image to accept new updates and to apply them. If you don't have the latest security stack, usually Microsoft will install it on the fly. But sometimes the system is so damn old, if you try with Windows 7 and try to do all the updates at once, it will fail. 100% it will fail. The RTM build. Okay, so if you have the latest security stack, servicing stack, which you can sideload with NTLite onto your 2600.1 image, you can be sure that you will never have issues with updating because of that dependency, which is important because I plan to get my image stitched and frozen in time once it's ready. I mean, it's already ready. The public release that I give you is basically my image with maybe some slight modifications, but not really that much. So we have our file. The other one is almost completed. We have our file. We don't need anything else. We can close that as well. Instead of opening that, you just 7-zip it. As usual, 7-zip comes to the rescue. You don't need any of that except the SSU. SSU is the servicing stack. And as you can see, that's 2600.1738. But what we have is the 4202 update package. All right. So that's what we need, the servicing stack. All right. My image has been downloaded. I don't need that anymore. Let's extract it. But I will not leave it here. I will put it on, I don't know, my desktop. My desktop is empty. Windows 24H2 perfection. Something like that. Okay. So that's what you get when you download the very first iteration of 24H2. The boot Vim is 423, 430, 430. So very lightweight by design. That's good. That means I don't have to touch it. And the install Vim is also very lightweight. Okay, I will first work on the install Vim. Actually, no, you don't need to do that anymore. But I will do it anyway, because just because. Enterprise LTLC we can remove. IoT LTLC subscription we can remove. Don't need that. It's useless. Um, Windows PE, you can actually remove it, but be careful. If you remove that, you will no longer be able to do host refreshes or in-place upgrades. So leave that in. If you only want to install the system from a USB, and you know for certain that you will never ever use the in-place upgrade soft, then you can remove that one. I will be working on the setup just to show you one thing, and one thing only, because actually the setup you don't need to do a lots of things in there. In the setup you have settings, and you have the possibility to have boot setup legacy. You really need that. If you want to use unattended files without the modern shenanigans, which could sometimes even fail your installation, click that. And also click that. That's it. Don't touch anything else. It's not needed. Apply. You don't create an ISO. You just do the Windows setup, and that's it. Nothing much. I'm starting with this first because even though I will anyway reapply the same settings from my other images on this image, I wanted to show it to you first if you just need to handle the install, the setup side of things. All right, now I will load my new IoT Enterprise LTSC, which is fresh and with the very first build, which by the way, the very first build has Wamic. This message is for system administrators because they have issues with upgrading to 24H2 because they need a CCM and all that bullshit. Okay, so what you need to do, if you really want to use 24H2, you have to listen very carefully. You need Wamic and you also need MMC, but that you know already. You have to know that sometimes updates will remove Wimic. And that's true if you use the very first build, so the 26.1, but also the checkpoint build. So that's 2600.1742, I think. I'm not sure, but something like that. The moment you do an update, everything about Wimic is gone. Even if you sideload it yourself, you will have to apply Wimic again. So what you need to do, if you want to upgrade to terminals from 23H2 or even older, and you still need that dependency, what you do is very simple. You take the image and instead of using the very first iteration, you update that image to the latest one. You don't need the FAT32 drive, you don't need all that shit. You the only thing that you need is being able to deploy your scripts. Actually, the very first time. After that, it's actually smooth sailing. But the very first time, you need your scripts, and you need Vmix for that. So you sideload it. And to sideload it, I will show it to you. You go to not my development kit, but my deployment kit. You go to directory, and it's actually here. Just Vmix. Select that, and they will all be there. And 84 updates. That's enough. Okay. But 2600.1 already has Vmix, so I will not have to add it because I know it will be removed. And the FOD setup that I said in the other video that you have to remove the scheduled tasks, in that version, you don't have it. But it will come when you update. Here, I think you have it here. It's a placeholder. It means that the component, especially in the very first version, you see it here, which is, by the way, if you didn't know, Windows 11 is still Windows 10. Technically, it's 10.0.2600.1. So they didn't lie. The marketing department just played on the words. But it's still technically Windows 10, even if the kernel has evolved, of course, since the very first build. So we have the out-of-box experience, OB FOD setup. Since we don't have that component because that version is older and wasn't introduced, it's useless to actually remove that. It will do absolutely nothing. Here you can, it's a placeholder for everything. You don't have much stuff in LTSC. But if you want to remove the core AI, maybe you can. That's also why I like my very first images, because there is nothing in there. Really, you have absolutely nothing. And it's very lightweight. And if you want to add updates on the fly, you select everything, up and queue. You need a purchase a licensed version of NTLite to do this. So you cannot cheap out on NTLite. If you want a good version of Windows, you have to either download my image that I made, or purchase NTLite and do everything what I do, but based on what you want. Okay. So I don't include anything because I don't need it. The drivers, that's a nice one. You don't need drivers, but I will integrate one driver or one group of driver, because including that will allow you to install Windows on Proxmox. And it may be not very useful because Proxmox, but I assure you, when you have a hoster that gives you the possibility to use Proxmox, you can host your cloud computer via Proxmox for a fraction of the price that Microsoft is asking for. So if you want to have a super nice machine on the cloud, you want Windows, you can if you have the right drivers. And I will show you what those drivers are. So this one, until this one can be removed, I leave the Apple thing. Why? Because the Apple is a bit sneaky, and I've called them out. Apple, when you want to use their if you want to use iTunes and sync your device, add music on your device, or if you want to use the hotspot, although for the hotspot you may still need the full suite of iTunes because of dependencies, a bit like NVIDIA. You can import drivers for NVIDIA, but if you don't have the library of NVIDIA, you will have a lot of problems with, for example, I don't know, the special features RTX, because okay, you have the basic driver, the rendering driver, but you don't have the dependencies. So you don't have any functionalities. Forget that DLSS and everything, you need that. But you will still have basic functionality. But these ones are important because the iTunes installer, the newer ones, do not include it, because they want you to go to the Microsoft Store and use their Microsoft Store variants. But the problem with that is that it doesn't work nicely and it's limited. So I leave the Apple stuff in there. All of this is not needed until here. Remove that. We have Kimi and Red Hat. You can remove the Xbox, and I leave the Samsung NVMe controller. So basically, on every image that I make, by default, these drivers are installed. QEMU and Red Hat, all these are important for Proxmox. If you don't have this, Proxmox will say you don't have a drive because it has no drivers. Okay, and Apple, you know, and Samsung, it's you know as well. Okay, so we can, for example, just for this one to add the drivers, we go slowly today. Um, you can integrate those drivers on everything, including the Windows recovery environment. You wouldn't want to need to use that component, for example, for updates or for resetting the computer if you really need to, without reinstalling Windows. Well, you want those Proxmox drivers anyway. Okay, so we integrate the drivers, and that's the only thing that we do. Let's process it. So you see, I'm not doing everything back to back. I'm doing by steps. First, I did the setup to force the setup to load the old setup style, which is important for system integrators, by the way, because the new one is I don't know how to say it, but funky to say the least. Um, so now I'm just adding the drivers. It's not a those drivers are not very heavy. They won't cause problems or a blue screen of death or anything. It's just drivers to basic drivers for basic functionality, basically. That's it. And now we wait for it to complete. You're watching this real time. I'm waiting just like you. See how how easy it is. See how much time it actually takes to make an image from start to finish with a somewhat decent computer. I wouldn't say the best computer because it's not the best computer for making and handling NTLite images, but it does the job, especially with my new configuration. Because I have the 7950 X3D, so it has a lot of cores. But in this case, what I did is I used the overclocking profile of my motherboard, and what it did is basically set 8 cores without hyperthreading, without all that, because it uses the Vcache, and give full 16 lanes to my graphics card. And since I have a 4090, I get more benefit in games. It's also more stable because uh, because there are less lanes allocated to the processor, and the processor, the 8 cores, are the first stack with the Vcache. So in my case, it's very interesting to have. I want to give a detail about the memory. Sometimes people want to go to the lowest memory possible, and they like to brag about I have only 1.2, I have 2.4, I have 3.6, and you have like 8 gigabytes. You have to know that the memory is tied to screen resolution, graphics card, and of course the programs that you are running. Now I'm using NTLite. I have some background programs, but not really much. And I'm still using 5.5. I've closed Florp and I was at 6 and now I'm using a 5.5. So you have to know that the race of using the least amount of RAM is not really useful now. It used to be, but not anymore. But that's my advice. Okay, so I've integrated all the drivers. Let's load IoT Enterprise again. And now I will put my baseline, my new baseline profile, and we check with you what we can adjust or not. However, there's one bug in my image, which is tied to the settings, but I'm lazy to check because I'm never using that provisioning method. But there is one thing that you have to know. You need to use an auto unattended file because even if you try, the OB setup, local skip, whatever the bullshit, you need you will see an error basically. Whatever you try, you will have an error. It cannot OBA something error. It's fine. It's okay. Uh, it's a little annoying, but it's not really a big deal. Okay, remove it. Those two don't need it. We'd override with my new baseline profile. And the first thing that we go to is the post setup. Of course, my chocolatey was not in my in my users folder, so it didn't put it there. So I will fix that. Let's get those from my already made image. So start all back, Office Pro, chocolatey, 7-zip. And that's it, I think. Floor files, of course. Drag it. And I put it on my actual C drive because NTLite needs that. Let's try again. New baseline, overwrite. No errors. Okay, so now Chocolatey will be run because it has found my file on my computer and will put it in the ISO. GP update force, but we don't have a group policy yet. So we go check Windows, System32, group policy. It's hidden. Show hidden files. Okay, group policy. Copy that. And you go to the app data, local, temp, and then NTLite temp mount something, and element, this one. Up. Windows System 32, group policy, which is not hidden, this one, and you paste it. That's it. You have a group policy without any special shenanigans. Um, and it will be forced. Sleep for 2 seconds, force again, and that's good. Robocopy floor files from users of the image, even if it's also here in my C drive, but since the Windows installation will be done on on C drive, it will be there. And move everything that is mentioned from users to desktop of the user. Okay, so Office Pro Plus 2024, 7-zip, start or back, move yes IT. Okay, those are the flags to move them without errors silently. And then we remove Dell, the Chocolatey package, because it was installed, and it will be installed before the logon, so even before you create the user, and then you just reboot the computer. So the post setup looks like this. It's very simple, but it helps a lot. I still need to add my registry, add the registry from my deployment kit or U registry. So I have my reg files here. When I share my deployment kit, I cannot share my reg files. I think I need to make a zip. I'm not sure, but if it's in a zip, it's just there because it's a registry, and registry. Some scanners freak out and stuff. So okay, but there will be there. If there's a password, it will be like reg file pw is password and then reg or 123 whatever. Select the folder. We add the hash run as user. These are snap layouts hover. Um, I mean everything is in there. I remove 26 character path limit, etc. And we have the start all back reg. So all of this is there, and it will be very easy for me to silo some things. This time components, I don't remove a lot of stuff because actually it's not needed. I don't need to do it anymore for the space. I've fixed that shit. Um, apps, no problems, nothing to remove here. Drivers, nothing to remove. Hardware support, not really something to remove. Actually, the very first thing that you can remove is, oh, maybe this one. Manual and support, you don't need that on the ISO image. Yeah, basically that's it. You don't really need to remove stuff, except maybe Edge. If you want to remove Edge, you remove it like that, because if you remove the legacy Edge, you will have problems. So just remove the Chromium, update and WebView. If you need it again, just install it again. Features, Hyper-V, of course, and I think that's it. Do we have .NET? Okay, nice. So I can add .NET, but it's a feature on demand package. So if you go to NTLite, cache, updates, FOD, here we have it. Microsoft NetFX3 on-demand package. And this package is included into the Pro and Home version Enterprise editions of Windows, but not in LTSC. If you wanted to know, no, you do. Wimic doesn't work. I've given that feedback to the dev, but it was not fixed yet. So OBE setup doesn't exist in that version yet. It still tells me to remove that. And in the newer version, even if I remove that, it still won't work. So Wimi cannot be activated here, but you can just, if you have the packages, which you need anyway, you just add all packages here. Registry positive is okay, so components is okay. Features, what do we need? Hyper-V is really the only thing I need. I don't think you really need anything else. I mean, for basic function. But I need Hyper-V no matter what. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's continue. Settings. Show me Windows welcome. No. So that's a new thing. Show me Windows welcome experience after updates. Yeah, never. No, I don't want that shit. Just to do updates. I'm big enough to manage my updates. Target release version for LTSC. It's a bit redundant to have 24H2 because it will be forced to be 24H2. But I want to give some details about the LTSC because a lot of people do not really understand how Windows works in the versions. First thing that you need to know, fuck home. Never use home. Always go for pro. If you need to choose between home or pro, choose pro. Never home because home is utter bullshit. Pro allows you more stuff, and I think you can use Hyper-V machines with the Pro edition. If you want Enterprise, you go for Enterprise. But Windows is Windows. It's a chameleon, and the different editions are just the locks that are removed from retail. When you start from home and go to IoT LTSC, those are the two extremes. IoT LTSC allows you to, for example, use two RDP sessions on the same device. All other editions only allow for one. I don't need it, I don't care, I use TeamViewer anyway. I manage the computer with TeamViewer, I can connect like I want, so I disable on my own images the RDP and I block it. Or if I leave it on, it's just local authentication, so you won't have issues if you, because that's important. If you want to use your image and put it on Proxmox on a dedicated server on the web, you really need to be careful with RDP because you will have a lot of attacks, scans. My EDR blocked them all, but if you use RDP on a Proxmox device, you will certainly have problems. So better use something else like AnyDesk or TeamViewer or maybe the hypervisor of your Proxmox to interact with Windows. But TeamViewer is obviously better because, well, in my case, I use TeamViewer to manage the device so I can connect at will, um, and I'm on my daddy online, right? So that's the Windows update side of things. Defender, it's all off. It will be reactivated anyway, so it really doesn't really matter. But we'll cover Windows Defender, by the way. Oh yes, by the way, about Defender, another reason why I use the very first iteration because the modern ones, if you Microsoft is watching my videos, I'm very sure of this. When you go to ISO, go to prepared, for example, open it with 7-zip, install Vim, and then you go to program data, Microsoft, Windows Defender. I told you to remove everything except this file. If you watch my previous video, I told you to remove everything except this one. To have no antivirus, but still have access to settings. Microsoft, what they did, and I know that they watched my video because they did this on purpose. Um, what they did is basically when you remove all those files, you no longer have access to the settings. You really need them to do the update with Windows Update to get all those files back, and then you can interact again. But what happens? You have an actual antivirus, and that's not good. That's not what I want. Maybe it's not what we want because I want to disable everything before it can actually do anything. Very important. That's why I don't like the very modern versions because they do shit like that, which break stuff. So just use the very first one, do your configuration like you need to do it, and then update. That's fine. Um, but I will still remove the Windows Defender files in that video because that's how I do it. USC is completely disabled. It can pose problems in very certain circumstances because the USC is it's not broken, but it's really disabled. It's not like the baby kit disable. It goes further than that. Um, TCP/IP, yeah, whatever. Tasks, I remove everything. System boot setup, you can do it here as well. Boot setup legacy, but I already did it at the beginning of the video, so I won't do it here again because I already disabled TPM, and I also already disabled the the new installer, so I don't need to interact with the setup anymore, and I don't need Rufus either to put some shady scripts. Not needed. NTLite can do this for you. Um, Automatically install suggested app. No. Occasionally show suggestions in start. No. These are new settings. Didn't check. Didn't see those ones. Show me notification settings apps. No. Show me suggested content settings app. No. Suggest ways I can finish setting my device online. Certainly not. I mean, you can use. I'm using it. I'm using a Microsoft account, so I'm not a hypocrite. I like using a Microsoft account because I actually yeah, I formatted my computer, it's not there. But I actually installed games and I could use them, purchasing games. So it still works. But I don't want all that bullshit, and I'm sure that you don't want it either, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Power control, fast startup and all that, those are already included in my profile. Keep history, keep that on default, because that's actually needed. If you use words and if you disable this, you will never have a history, and it can generally it's annoying for end users, so I leave it on default. Preview pane, I don't really know what it is, so I leave it on default. Show sync provider notifications, no. Show extensions for known file types, no, because I want every file type to be shown. Desktop, black by default, alt tab. Don't put classic, it's ugly. Prefer the new one. But if you want a classic, go for it, no problems. Pinning to taskbar, I think it's just disabled. Yeah, leave default because I need my taskbar, I need my pins. And that's it. We continue. No, nothing. And that's it for the settings, and that's actually it for the for the for the image here. I mean, there's nothing much we can do. So what we can do is apply also to the recovery environment. But be careful, be very careful. If you put the Windows recovery environment and you add the boot Vim tag, um, it could break it. However, could be that it only affects the boot Vim and not I know, actually it's only the boot Vim. I said some bullshit here. But what I had in the past, because in the past I had to use a registry to have, because that option was not always there. Before we had to use a registry, and Garlin made that registry, so all credits goes to him, not me. And if I applied that onto the recovery environment, Windows installation would never complete. It would always boot loop. So I don't think we really need it on this pass. The Windows setup neither. Huh? He still wants to load it. Okay, no problem. It's maybe new, but okay, no issues. Ah, yeah, power plan, I forgot that. Since my power plan is forced, and you can do that too with your own power plan, don't use mine. Unless you really use the computer as a workstation that you know you don't need sleep, and you know you never want it to go in hibernate mode, because sleep and hibernate is completely out of the question. My host here has maximum performance, so I will first import my profile and activate it, thanks to the developer, because in the last video that was my issue. I was still looking for a way to integrate my power profile and activate it. All those ones, if you want, you can remove everything. If you want to really force your own profile. Maximum performance, I even gave a title. And the ID is actually the same, and it will be the same as the ID that I have in my host computer. So specify customer active plan, 9FC, and I copied my group policy from my host computer into the image. So D9FC, it will be powercfg.cpl, it will be forced. And that's one that I made. So maximum performance, it provides ultimate performance and prevents energy saving settings. So when you click here, that's great. You cannot click it and will never be active by default. There's still one way to activate some energy savings, but I'm sure this profile will override a lot of stuff. The device cannot enter sleep or hibernate in this mode. It's best suited for workstation and servers. Basically, computers that always stay online. Since I'm using TeamViewer on all my terminals, unless the user really shuts the computer down, it will never goes to sleep. It will never shut down unless the battery is dead. And also, the battery percentage has been modified. You will never be notified. You will see the logo of the battery that is, very low and critical, but you will never be bothered by the system. It will close before it. I think I put it like on 1%, so it will go from 100 to 0, never bothered. And if you don't save, tough luck for you. Your work is lost. But that's life. That's why I say don't use my profile. Well, I mean my selected my plan. If you want to use your own plan, you have to import your own plan and use that and do basically the same thing. First, you force your own plan on your host computer by using powercfg.list. You have the ID here, and that's how you copy it. You NTLite can also give you the ID, but you can copy that. You go to GP edit, you go to um, specify custom power plan, you paste that ID. Once that's done, you copy the files of the group policy files and put that on that ISO. And you also put the power plan, we import that into the image and you remove everything else. So that will be the only one that remains. So Windows will never be able to fall back on another plan unless, of course, Microsoft watches my video again and decides to put power plans into cumulative updates. Of course, just to piss me off. But my maximum performance will be the only one and should be the only one on the system. So if you have single-purpose computers, a bit like I do, I have IT LTSC on every computer that I own, but every computer has a different purpose. Okay, so that's how you cheat a bit for the rules. And that's it. Post setup is good, registry is good, components is good, features, yeah, Hyper-V, that's what I need. Settings are okay. Integrated power plan not needed for the other ones. Remove components only in this one. Don't need to remove the components on the other images. It's fine. Features only for the main one. Updates we don't have any. Don't have Vimic either. Registry we don't need to add the registry to the boot vim. Okay, so that's it. Almost. You can also make an own auto unattended file, but I already have mine, and I know that auto unattended file can be a bit finicky, so I will just use the one that I have. 7-zip, auto unattend. Let's put that on the desktop. Put that here, and that's it. Okay, we have our file, and then we can create the ISO. Super Windows 24H2 process. Now I will prepare my Hyper-V machine. This time I will do a canned virtual machine. So with a virtual drive because I want to show you something. Store it on a different location, computer, so library, use data A and B and then C and everything else come after is bonus. Let's put that onto the B, use data, canned VM. Next, generation 2. I want 6144, no dynamic memory, not connected. And we want a drive of 125, let's say. Okay, yes, next. Later operating system finish. It's almost finished here. However, I forgot to remove the Windows Defender files. I'll skip it for today. It's fine. Not a big deal. But this time, instead of using an image that's already created, this time I will be using this one. This is the fast version. If you want to add different wallpapers and stuff, you can do that. Takes a bit of time. You have to go to the directories, change the image.1 or something to the image that you want. But I'm already making the ISO, so I will not bother with doing this. It's okay. It's quite easy. Yeah, you go to C, Windows, and then Web, Wallpapers. You have all these files here. I've got my default. It doesn't point to anything, but if you need it once, the default is there. But it's on Windows Image 0. When you install Windows in light mode, you have Image 0. If you install Windows in dark mode, which never happens, you have Image 19. So if you go to Settings, Personalization, that's Image 0, that's Image 19. If you remove the other folders, you will have blank spaces here, and that's not really sexy. So we can leave it. And since I'm using 2600.1, I shouldn't have space issues. Even with the side loading of Chocolatey, of floor files and everything, it should be lightweight enough to build a DVD, for example. Because my image that's ready, that I made, prepared, public release is only 4.5, and when you click on properties, that's 4658 bytes, and a DVD is 4.7 bytes. I mean 4.7 billion or something, but I'm under that, so I can burn my master image to a DVD and it will work. However, there is one thing that you must know. When you install a modified image like this on that very old version, you need to disable secure boot. That's important. For the installation, you need to disable secure boot. And on modern devices, you might have a problem. On modern devices, you might have the problem of instead of choosing the edition that you're installing, you will have there are no images available. That's a problem because this cannot be bypassed, or at least not easily, but I have Hyper-V. And I will show you how you can bypass this. If you really need to install Windows on that computer um, without having access to an external drive or something. If you have only one drive in your computer, you're stuck with that drive and you have no options. Well, I will give you a way to be able to have your Windows image. Here, 41 to 2.7. That's very lightweight actually. Super Windows 24h2.iso with all my changes is super lightweight. I can remove those three as a read-only mode. Um, I understand. I know. I know. I made a mistake. That's fine. Just forgot something. Not really a mistake. But let's do it again. That's why it's useful to have. That's actually a good mistake. If you made a mistake like this, you make the ISO too soon. Well, you still have your directory here, which is the live directory where you work. The mount is building now, but that's the default files, the basic files that you have, which I will mount again because I need to add some stuff in here. Otherwise, we will have problems. That, and that. Copy that into users. Yeah, it's okay. All right, very good. And that's it. Yeah, we can make the ISO again. Windows. The next step is so installing Windows. That's very straightforward. But I want to show you the very um, niche use case of not being able to install Windows on a very recent device, which I had. I had the issue with a friend a few days ago. That's why I'm also making the video, because I need to correct a lot of stuff that I said. I said some bullshit in my first video, but I'm correcting this today. Basically, what we will do is first install Windows on the virtual machine, and we go into audit mode. And then we do a special command. It's on the internet somewhere. I don't recall. But basically, we need to skip the the installation, or maybe no, I will not show that. It's too long to do. But basically, what you need to do is skip the OBE, skip and not with the command that is very popular on YouTube, but the real command. Skip OBE shutdown command or something, I don't know. Yeah, this one. When you go to the Reddit post here 1 month ago, you do Shift F10, CD OBE. You don't need to go CD Windows something, just CD OBE. You're already in System32. And then MSOBE exe and N shutdown exe error to restart. What this will do, it will skip the OBE, but there's a problem. If you do that, you will not be able to make updates. I've had the issue, and that's why I needed Hyper-V and do what I will show you, because otherwise I was stuck and I didn't have any other option. I didn't have an external drive. My friend didn't have 2 drives, and I needed to clean the main drive, so I couldn't use another partition or something. Really need to go big hands in there. So my new ISO has been made, and let's play with it. Let's say you have done this. You run the administrator account, and you have access to Hyper-V because Hyper-V is installed. You open Hyper-V, you make the VM, and you add the DVD drive. I know I forgot something again. Because if you want to do this, you need a special file, which is this one, gimage.x. I put it there. But I don't need to reload the image, the install vim, just can create an ISO and overwrite this one. That's it. It goes much faster. So if you need to do some minor corrections like this, well, that's the way of doing it. We have the gimage.x. Why I put this here? Because in the virtual machine, it has only access to your ISO image. So you have to put that file here. That's very advanced stuff, what I'm showing here, but it can save your life can save your job maybe in the right circumstances. So, Super Windows, apply. We don't want secure boot. We don't enable anything. Nothing. That's a canned VM. No checkpoints. Integration. Why not? Okay. All right. Let's boot the VM. Start. So that's the image that we made, that I just made now in like 1 hour. Takes 1 hour to make an image with explaining everything, so you can be a lot faster if you have some if you are used to making images. Okay, so sometimes on secure boot enabled or disabled device, but just because they are new, you will instead of seeing this Windows 11 IT Enterprise LTSC, you will see no images are available. And since my image has a problem when you do the manual command without the provisioning with auto unattended, with the arrow we cannot configure and stuff, and since the control F3 OBE command that's shown here doesn't work, because it works but you cannot make updates, so it's useless. Well, we can install this, but again I won't make the partitions directly here. I will make 2 partitions, but just to be able to deploy the Windows configured like it should on the same machine if you need to. You need to have an USB. That's required because you need to boot from the USB, and then from the USB you can apply the image. Because you will see you still have the same problem. It will say you have there are no images available. So that's an issue that you can face off. I think you can bypass this if you update your image beforehand. But again, I want FAT32 drive. I want the lightweight, the most lightweight possible. So we will make the partitions, of course, ourselves. This part, list the disk. It's always disk 0, but if you have more disks, always check that. Uh, Cell disk 0. And now create par EFI size is 256. Of course, conf GPT first, and then format fs is FAT32, quick if you want, but it's only 256, so it doesn't matter. Then create par pre for create partition primary size. Let's say we want 1024 times 45. That's 46080. I don't think you need more technically. It depends on RAM. So let's do more. Let's do 76. Okay, then format quick. Format quick will always put the drive on NTFS as well. And then create par pre for the remaining of the space. Unallocate it, refresh, and that's it. You have your 3 partitions. You format the first one if you want, you format the last one if you want, and don't forget you delete the second one, so you have an unallocated space between the EFI and your data drive, which is what I did. When we go to partition or disk measurement.msc, we have 256, my C drive, my user data, and I also have my library. I have two disks, but I have 3 partitions. See, the library is A, user data is B, my drive is C. It's that simple. Then we click on next, and you let everything. I mean, if it works from the first try, it will work usually on older computers because the EFI is older and stuff. And technically, even if it's the first release, well, the EFI files will be newer, so it will work. But on new computers, might not because of this. So you have, I think you have to then update the boot vim and stuff. It's a lot of work for nothing. So we leave it to the installation, and you will watch it real time. I will not skip it. We just let do its thing. And depending, it's not because it's a virtual machine, but if you have a fast drive, even when you do it on a real computer, you will not have a very slow speed. And that's it, I think. Yeah. As you can see, that's the older one. It's not the same one as the newer one. It says restart instead of close, so it's already another one. And I don't have internet, but again, I'm not afraid of internet at all. But I still want to get it fast, get it done fast, and you win a minute and a reboot. I think if you just leave internet out of the picture for now. So you let do its configuration. And the next step you only do if you really need to, if you don't have another choice, because it's a pain in the ass to do, takes time. Especially if the computer that you're using is very old, you won't be able to have the Hyper-V, but it's there, it exists, it's possible, and it can save your situation without having you to come back to your friend, to your customer, and etc. Though, if you need to make images for customers, Maybe leave the capability of using the normal provisioning, just in case you need to reset or something. If the settings, but I don't know which setting blocks it. That's okay. I will find it later. It's absolutely not a priority for me because it works, because I have my own auto identifier. It's just better like that. It's faster. You don't have to deal with clicks. It just does everything like it should. So this step is actually important. This configuration step is important if you want to make updates. I've had the issue before where I removed that component responsible for this. No updates. Install error. File cannot be found. So the provisioning here takes like maybe little minute. It depends on the computer speed. Almost there. Then you wait like 5 seconds. Don't touch anything. It does its thing. And then it will restart. There we go. There we go. And basically that's it. Don't do anything else. Leave everything as it is. Your Windows is configured, so you will be able to make updates later. You shut down the computer and you boot again from your USB, your DVD drive, in my case. But this can only be done on the computer where you have access to the drive. So if you're using some virtualization software, it can change depending on what you use. But since Hyper-V is included in my image, or in your image if you choose so, um, well, you will always be able to use that and do what I'm showing you. Now, this is the advanced stuff. Don't continue, don't click next. We don't need any of that. Open Notepad. Then open something. Go to this PC. What do you see? You see local disk C and local disk D. This is important. You cannot have only one disk. That's why I made two partitions. The C will be captured because the C has been configured. So what we do, we go to our DVD and we use GIMAX, GI image x64, run as admin, and you have this. The source is your C. That's where Windows was installed. The destination is your second partition, because otherwise you will have conflicts, and that's not good. Install.wim, save, name Windows ad hoc, for example. You don't really need to change name, doesn't matter, but I do it just for funsies. Compression, it's enterprise, but it's not enterprise. You have to change that in NTLite later, but don't think it's really needed to do. But I will do it anyway. Create, and that's it. You let it image the thing. And by the way, for system administrators that don't know that, because they think that their protected computer BIOS protection with passwords is the end of the world, that it will protect them from anything. That's not the case at all, and I will tell you why. If the user has access to the physical drive, it's game over for you, because that physical drive can be put into into any computer. You spin up Hyper-V, you install Windows like I do, or maybe you just install Windows, then you click on close or reboot, and then you cut the VM, you take the drive and you put it back on the work computer if you want. And you don't need access to BIOS. Secure boot will work because Windows is already installed. It will recognize it, it will configure it, and there's nothing your IT department can do. And second thing, if you don't have access to the BIOS, the Windows drive is soldered, but you have admin access. Sometimes you have. If you have, that's a good thing for you. You can use, well, you can make another partition. You can use Hyper-V like I'm doing here now. You install it via Hyper-V. Then you capture it inside Hyper-V. And when that's done, you get that file back. using your computer, not in the virtual environment, because that file it's scanned, so you have access to that canned file, and you just take that install window back, and you put that into the to your Windows folder and or your USB, and then you just install it manually, which I will show you how to do. So the video is complete, and I won't have to make a lot of follow-up videos. I know there is a lot of information. I've had some complaints, quite rare, but still, I had some complaints saying that my video was too long, too intense. There was too much information that people could not follow, or the video could not be was not informative enough. I don't know. Uh, Not informative enough. I would doubt it actually. But yeah, it's just another scope. This kind of videos, you will never see a content creator doing videos for profit go that deep. You will never see that. But I'm an autist. I like Windows. I like Linux as well, but I'm not one of those guys to say I'm gonna ditch Windows because I'm too lazy to configure it correctly, and I will go to Linux instead, which is absolute nonsense. Just use Windows; it will work as it should. I'm using 24H2 on my computer here. I don't have problems. I don't have AI bullshit. It just works. People really need to stop fear mongering people. All right. So my Windows has been captured. Very good. I don't need that. Maybe I will turn it off correctly instead of risking corruption. Turn off. Very good. Now we go to the user data. Can VM, virtual hard disks. That's my VM drive. Go to 7-zip. Open archive. That's my second. So that's my two partitions. You see, that's my EFI. That's the MSR that gets created automatically. We have the basic data partition. Then for Windows, that's Windows. That's Windows. We don't need that anymore. What we need is this. Install Vim. And you move it. Um, let's fix the name. There we go. And then if you want to do that here, I will just put it there. Doesn't matter. OG install Vim and install Vim. But you can have a custom install Vim if you want. Doesn't matter. Let's keep this as the install Vim, and the custom install is when the computer is already deployed. But be careful. You cannot use that as definitive image for every computer in the world because it has the same ID. And you don't want that, because if you have, for example, a friend that cheats and it gets ID banned, you get banned as well. So don't do it. My custom install is here. That's good. Let's see what NTLite has to say. Uh, let's isolate it first. Take the Vim on my desktop, custom install, just to change the name. So you also know how to change the name then. Take look, Windows 2042, edit name, LTLC, for example, not really needed, but it's there. Flags, change the flags. IoT, enterprise, S, very easy. And now, what you do, take that custom install and put it back into sources. We have our two installs here, and what we do is forget this one. 24 is to perfection. Yes, we have to install, but the old one is not seen. That's fine. It's okay. Super Windows 24H2 manual. I assure you this shit works. And it's amazing. We go back to Hyper-V. Let's change the ISO. So it's not Super Windows 24H2 anymore, it's the manual. What? What happens here? What happened? Did it remove it or what? You know what? Fuck this. But I need an ISO because it's a VM. So yeah, let's make it again. Up. I'm gonna have multiple ISO. Let's stack them. Okay, it has been updated. Very good. Manual, apply, boot from the DVD drive. Let's go for the fun. All right, this is the apply image. So let's say you boot your USB gun. It's easier on USB because a USB doesn't make an ISO. Here I have to make an ISO and it ignores the older install one. So let's say you have no images here, so you cannot continue, but that's not an issue. You have captured it using Hyper-V on the same machine or not. That's up to you, but you have prepared actually at least the Hyper-V image. So let's go again to this part. Cell this 0, list vol. I don't think you need to select a volume for that, but nah. Cell vol 1, format quick, cell vol 0, no, not 0, it's 3, format quick, no, format fs dot fat 32 quick. Okay, very good. We have clean partitions. List vol again to control something. Assign letter y. Assign letter z for the other one. Cell vol 1. Assign letter z. Okay, list vol. Very good. DISM, first part. We apply the image from image file that's on E. My UDF, my Windows is here on E. Then it's in sources, and then it's install.wim. In this case, the index is 1. We only have one index anyway, and you apply to the directory of Z, and you close it. That's it. And you let the the installer do his job, and that's it. Actually, I forgot something. I'm sorry, I forgot something, but it's the servicing stack. I forgot to add it. I will show it at the end of the video to be complete, but I forgot to add the servicing stack. Shouldn't be an issue in 2025, but could be an issue later on, because you are using the .1 version and not the checkpoint version, which is 1742. Okay, that goes fast. That's very good. And by the way, if you have 2 drives, for example, you can do this on your regular Windows. It will always work there too. So you have, for example, here just the install.wim. That's the only thing you need, and you apply the image on the drive that you have. You don't need the virtual machine to do it, but I prefer the virtual machine, especially if I'm working on a dedicated drive, to be sure that I don't format other stuff and I keep in a user land instead of a BIOS land interface. All right, so we have installed Windows, but you cannot boot it. You don't have EFR files. So what you do is bcd boot /s, no, bcd boot from Z Windows. Oh no, bcd boot /s Windows /f all. Nah, of course not. I forgot the Y. No, I'm rusty. I'm very rusty. Okay. Yeah, failure. What happens? Is my command correct? No, it's not. bcd boot z windows /s on y force all. Success! Nice, very good. Okay, so we have installed Windows. We have, you see, date modified 6 to 6. Well, that's tomorrow actually. But that's the captured image. We can now reboot or stop the machine. And instead of booting from the DVD drive or the USB that you take off because you don't need it anymore, you do OK and you start it. And it will start the VM directly on the Windows that you have created. And you will never have problems with updates because the user has already been configured. ID is there, everything is there. You know it has been installed on the 5th of June, and that's the Windows experience that you can have. And when you install Start All Back, install for everyone, you have basically my settings. It takes 2 seconds to install and have a decent experience on Windows. Really, guys, 2 seconds, and you already have the Magic tab. You have basically everything is configured like I have configured it because these are my settings. But if you import your own settings, refer to the beginning of the video, if you import your own settings into NTLite, you will have your own settings for this. Not for everything, but for most things. So for example, this you still have to turn it off if you turned it off. But for the most part, everything will be restored. So if you want, and I really encourage you to do this, if you are competent, sorry, and as a system administrator, please allow your users to use Back and don't be one of those that say it doesn't work because it could pose problems with crashes and blue screen of death and so on and so on. That's not true. It works like a charm on Windows. The only time when it fails is because the system administration team is doesn't know what they're doing and they are using a lot of scripts they don't understand very well, and indeed you can have problems. I did on my work computer. I had to disable the here the this bar because after enrollment into their own NDM they applied the scripts and it went all to shit. But yeah, it's their computer, so I have to live with the tools that I have. When you click on this, let's say, let's put internet back on, just to show you the Office Pro genuine thing that I have, 2.8 megabytes. What it does, you can check with 7-zip, which is there, okay? You open the archive, you have start and the package. And that's it. It's very simple, really. You do run as admin and you install, and everything will do its thing by themselves. And at the end, you will have, just like me, Microsoft Office LTSC Professional Plus with a 2 megabyte file. It's that simple. Windows is not complicated. And I also have Chocolatey. So, for example, Choco install Florp. Choco is installed. I don't have a browser. Edge is gone. So that's the only way to get another browser in there. And let's install Florp. That's the basic configuration that I do on my images. Since the extensions have been sideloaded already through the app data of Florp files, in my case, if you want to do it, feel free, but that's how I do it. Let's give the time to download stuff. And then I will finish the video with the servicing stack that we add, but it's not really complicated anyway. Installing Florp. Still busy, right? Yeah. And this installer is an official one that I received when I bought a key. Um, and it's very useful actually. So because the tutorials say to make a specialized installer and all that, and this one is already made. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, not all the time. Florp, and there we go. Extensions, all there. Go to Google. It will do everything automatically. That's amazing. See? Go to YouTube. Ain't that beautiful? It's so easy. Really, it's stupidly easy. Yeah, I think that's it actually. Um, let's show the servicing stack and wrap this video up. Let's don't show hidden files. It's cleaner like that. Okay, so we still have our image and we have our servicing stack here. Load the image. You only need the servicing stack on the main windows because the main windows will be the one making the updates. Don't need to put it on PE or setup because setup is a standalone, and since you're still installing the 2600.1, doesn't matter, you don't need it. This is only to make sure that you are able to make updates later on, because it needs the servicing stack to be able to do that. So you go to updates and you add this file, and that's it. See? Servicing stack update 2600.1738.1.3, but you're still on 2600.1. So what they are saying, Microsoft, not NetLite, see this one? For doing the cumulative update 4066, which is what I have, I think. 4202, I have 4202. Okay, if you want to do 4066, technically, not now, I've tested, but it will break later, I'm pretty sure of it. You need this one, the checkpoint. You see? Cumulative update or the preview, you need the KB 080. The KB 080 is 1742. Why do you need that? Easy, because you need this shit. And this shit is only 19 megabytes. So we can add it to our image. And that's it. It will integrate the servicing stack updates on its own into the image. Goes very fast. Yet it's an important component to make updates to be sure that it doesn't break. And that's it. And about the vMix stuff, normally I think the normal updates done on your computer don't break it, but sometimes it might. You can check this by doing this. If you have vMix root CLI, by the way, I'm still on 4202, 2600. It's the latest preview update from at the time of recording the video, of course. But if you don't have vMix, you will have vMix command not found. You can also check here if you see some vMix stuff, like VME, PRV, server something. Here, this one. And by the way, I've tested them. Installed vMix and did the enrollment of a work device with their rules and stuff. And since I had vMix, I had no issues and I was on 24H2. I don't want to use 23H2, so I installed 24H2 and gave opened the gates to IT. And there we go. That's it. Servicing stack update has been included. If you want to be safe, you can maybe include it in the other images, but I don't think it's needed. Just in the main one. And that's it. There we go. Don't need that anymore. And I will put the prepared ISO when it's finished. I still need to do some some very little cleaning, but once I added the start all back thing into the public release, I can burn it on my DVD and I'm ready with 24H2. Basically, that's the only thing that I need to do. And maybe later on I will have new stuff to add or new regedits to add, but for now it's ready to be released for production actually. For me, yeah, for me. I don't know for you, but for me. And that's how I make the ISO, and I don't believe you will find a better tutorial for the NTLite, to be honest. I've seen too many videos of people just covering the surface of NTLite. They don't go into the details at all. They're not even licensed. I mean, they're making a video for profit about a software that is not from a multinational, and they still don't pay the software. Ain't that a little bit of something? So if there are NTLite video makers here, please respect the developer. It's a very important project. And again, if you use NTLite correctly and you combine this with Intune and other provisioning software like JumpCloud, for example. JumpCloud is quite popular in my work sector. They use that. Just to give information, I do not work in an IT department, and I've never worked in an IT department. Everything that I'm showing here has been self-taught. There was, except, for example, in the NT-Lite forums and stuff and Discord. But I mean, it was all self-taught. I never went to IT school or something, and yet my Windows installations, well, mine, with my settings, I never have problems. I never have crashes. It's fast. It has the legacy feel. It has the productivity boost that you can expect from that legacy feel. USC is disabled, yet it's not completely blocked. USC still works if you. It's just like Windows XP. If you are not into the right group or if you are not an admin, you will not be able to install something, whatever you try, because you don't have USC. And that's basically the problem that you might have. Not sure. That's something you have to tweak on. That you might have if you're using the run as a different user, but because I think if you invoke that as a normal user, it will not work. But I don't bother checking because I don't need to run commands in admin mode in a user standard account. If I need to make big changes, I can just go to an admin account, add administrator role to my user account, do my changes, and remove that group back. Then that's a workaround. I know there are better things to do, but yeah, those are the things that you need to know if you want to use my image, which I use on every computer that I provision. So the image that I made here today is maybe 95% of the image that I actually use and burn on my DVDs and on my USBs. All right, so that's it. Microsoft account works. There are a lot of things that works except this one. I've got a friend that had an issue because he's using the Samsung suite, the One UI suite, big bloatware from Samsung. Find my device and everything. And of course, my settings are not very friendly with those kind of applications because those are Microsoft Store applications, and there are some functions that straight up don't work because my settings are meant for privacy and security, and yeah, those applications do everything in reverse. They don't care about privacy and security. So it's something that I will have to fix for him. The energy saver can be enabled here, and that's the only place where you can do that. You will see it's half enabled, but if you really need it, it's there. It's not blocked yet. Energy recommendations, so that's not VM. You only have two things basically. So with some luck, you won't have anything. If you have a 60 Hz screen, you will have a perfect score, even if you don't care about saving power, because thermal screen off after 30 minutes. That's blocked. It won't do anything when you click on buttons. Yeah, and I use LTSC for long-term support by default. And every device is basically a terminal doing a different thing. So Even my work computer, I use LTSC on it because my work computer, I do one thing and it's opening a browser and checking tickets. That's it. One purpose. No sleep, no hibernate. It's on or off, just like a workstation basically. And I don't need the new stuff. But I bought a license for it, of course. I didn't use the website that we all know. I bought a license for this. And that's it. If you have questions, feel free. Um, don't do this on your work computer. I did it. I didn't have problems because I knew what I was doing on a work computer environment. But don't use my profile on your work computer because your IT department will freak out. But what you can do, basically, if you have a work device and you have admin mode, you can partition a disk to have another one, another partition. You make an EFI, manually you make an EFI and all that. The trick that I showed you by capturing the image, instead of using USB or VM to reapply the image inside the VM environment, you do the same, but on your Windows environment, you go to this part again, list list volumes, and you do exactly the same thing, and then you reboot. If you have the possibility to choose your boot device, which is not always the case, but if you have the possibility to do that, you can sideload your own system besides your work system. So you can use the computer for either work on their platform, their rules, and if you are no longer working but you want to still use the device because it's a good device, you can use the other partition where you have your own Windows, where it's untouchable by IT, um, and it's you don't have access to the BitLocker part of the IT stuff, so that's locked away, and that's good because you can just use the machine to, I don't know, watch movies and stuff on a work device without them knowing anything about it. That's the kind of thing that you can do with Windows, and that's the kind of thing that I feel that's sysadmins these days, not everyone of course, but most of them, you can't believe me, most sysadmins don't really know what they are doing. Okay, they are following procedures, they are using tools, but that's about it. Because I've seen a lot of work devices from different companies, and every single one of them was running like trash. When I tested on some, because I couldn't do it on all, when I tested a clean version like I showed you here, the computer was twice as fast. So there is something that IT department is not doing right. And that's why I've taken the provisioning of my own work computer into my own hands. And then when I was finished, allowed them to take control. I mean, put the computer into their management, which works. I mean, all rules are being respected, but I still have full control of my own work computer because, I mean, it's not that I know everything, but I clearly knew more of the IT department and doesn't cause problems to them. So everyone is happy. I am happy, um, and life is good. And there we go. If you have questions, please do not hesitate. The ISO, when it's completed, I think it's already uploaded, but I need to add one or two things, and that's it. ISO will be able to be downloaded. So if you don't have the resources, if you don't want to spend the time to make your ISO with NTLite, you can download my ISO. My deployment kit will be uploaded as well. It's all direct download. There's no shady websites where you have to wait or so. It's just my dedicated server. You click on the link and you download it, and that's it. Be careful. My server for the CDN is plain, so there's no HTTPS. That's important. So if you have a browser that automatically converts all links to HTTPS, you have to remove the S manually to be able to download the file. That's by design because my CDN also is meant for legacy applications which don't have HTTPS support for download. Wolfenstein Enemy Territory is one of them. Okay, and that's it. If you have questions, please ask, and we'll try my best to answer them. Bye bye.